Hi, now in this video we're going to talk about Futurism. Futurism is a movement which started in Italy at the beginning of the 20th century, precisely in 1909 when the Futurist Manifest was published on the Figaro, a French newspaper. Futurism is a movement, as I said, began in Italy after a long period in which Italian culture and the artistic position of Italy had lost of importance actually. Now there are two very important Italian futurist painters, and one of them is Giacomo Balla and the other one is Umberto Boccioni. They all did most of their works in the first half of the 20th century. Now here are some important works of art of theirs. This is Rissa in Galleria, which is a fight in a gallery. It's the gallery which really exists in Milan. It's Vittorio Emanuele II gallery. It's as you can see, there's a lot of dynamism in this painting, and it really resents of the influence of the divisionism, which is a type of painting in which comes after Impressionism, and it's based on small little lines which give a dynamic imprint to this kind of painting. Now Futurism actually approved violence. It was kind of a strong movement which was very optimistic as far as future was concerned, and they had a lot of confidence in the possibility of people of improving the society and making it a better world. Now Futurism also resented of the influence of cinema, which had just come out in those years. As you can see in this painting, this, by the way, the one before, was done in 1910. This, it's called Dinamismo di un cane al guinzaglio, which is dynamism of a dog on a leash. As you can see, this is done by Giacomo Balla. As you can see, what he's trying to do is to represent more scenes, to capture in a static painting something which is very dynamic, like a person walking, and you can see the leash moving, the dog moving his tail and his legs and his face, and the feet of a lady moving. So you can really tell that this resented of the influence of cinema. Then, as I said before, this painting here shows all the great works that man could do, at least to their eyes. You must think these things were very new to them, so they were just surprised and very enthusiastic about the possibilities that man, according to them, had to improve the world. Then here you can see some wheels. They were very much in favor of cars. They liked the noise of the car, the power of the machine. So that's always to be inserted in this kind of context. It needs to be contextualized to understand the reason why they wanted such things. You can really see they try to represent the sound with these kind of waves, these spirals. And then this is done by Umberto Boccioni again, and it's a sculpture which is very important because it represents a person walking in the air, and you can really see the air getting inside the figure with all these unusual shapes, the movement of the person who doesn't have arms. I mean, their goal was not to be realistic. They wanted to represent what the power, the dynamism, and they were trying to put movement within the paintings and within the sculpture. So here you can see the reason why they did such, Boccioni did such a dynamic statue. Now statues are important because they did not really have a big evolution, because they were expensive to make. They're usually made out of marble or of precious metals, like, I don't know, bronze mainly, but also some were gold plated, so they were expensive. So they were very bound to the person who wanted to. They depended on the will of the person who's committing this kind of work of art, and these people were more generally they preferred to be more classical. So most of the statues you're gonna see in all the 19th century are very classical. In the 20th century, still there's gonna be a big part of them which are classic, but there's gonna be some new statues like this. I believe it's been done in 1911, but I could be mistaken. So anyways, in those years, anyways, for sure in the first part of the 20th century. Now, one thing Futurists did not like was romance. So as you can see in this painting here, which is called Lampada ad Arco, it can represent light. It represents light like very small arrows which break into the darkness which is all around. And here you can actually see the moon. Wait, let me show it to you. The moon, which is, okay, let me take that out. Okay, you can see the moon, which is being hidden by the light of the lamp here. So what does that represent? It represents the minor importance that romance had for futurists, and the strength of man's inventions, which beat nature. It's more luminous, in fact, than the moon. And that's what the painter wanted to represent. This is done by Balla also. Here you have another painting which we had already talked about in the abstractism video, and as you can see, it's called Vibrazioni Prismatica, prismatic vibrations, and it's supposed to represent light as triangles. So it's actually to be considered an abstract painting. It's done in 1913, 2 years after the first abstract painting done by Kandinsky. Now here, the last painting we have, it's called Stati d'Animo. It's done by Boccioni, and as you can see, there is a train station represented. So what it wants to represent are strong emotions. Now, they did not really care about emotions that much, but in this case, he wanted to represent the moment of saying goodbye to people I guess you cared of. So he represents people here to the side, right over here, and over here, as you can see, some faces or something similar. I don't know, this reminds me of a face. You can see they're being, okay, let me take those off. You can see they're being represented in green, which reminds of a sad emotion. Now here you see a number, which is the train number. So anyways, you can see in the center of the painting there is a train with the smoke coming out over here. So that's always to remind of the power of man's inventions. And in the background you can see an electric pole, which is actually something pretty unusual for that time. It's one of the first times it's being represented, because it had been, they had been spread out only in recent times, always in the first half of the 20th century, and around 1915 or so. I don't remember precisely the date. Anyways, what you can see here is an important Cubist influence. Let me take that last thing out, because you can see geometrical figures like this over here. It cuts the space and represents it in a new dimension inside the painting, which does not have to represent life the way it is. It just needs to represent the vision that the author has of that specific scene by taking different pictures, different parts of the whole scene and putting them together on a unidimensional space. So maybe he saw, I don't know, this figure here, he saw it to his left, then this one he saw it in front of him, and this one to his right, but he's representing them all on the same surface, on the same table. Well, this is about it for futurism.